Today we continue looking at evaluating speeches for theme. Today we're looking at the theme of responsibility in President Kennedy's Ask Not speech. In the past, we've looked at evaluating speeches for a speaker's message, a speech's organization, a speaker's style, and the emotional impact on an audience. But we've started talking about theme, which is the universal idea about human nature expressed in a text. So when we evaluate a speech for theme, we need to see if the theme connects with the audience, is the theme supported with specific examples, and does the speaker believe his or her theme is important. In the theme of responsibility, it breaks down into three elements: answering for one's own actions, answering for one's obligations, and knowing right from wrong, and acting accordingly. In the speech Ask Not, President Kennedy addresses the actions of America. He offers two specific examples. There are more, but these are the two we're going to look at. Offering assistance to poverty-stricken nations to the South. Remember, this is a time of great economic strife for South America. He also is offering to go to war. This is the beginning of the Vietnam conflict, and so this is a pretty significant comment. When he talks about his own obligations, then he makes this really powerful quote that the world wide has common enemies of man: tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself. And he wants other nations to join with him to fight these things. This will eventually lead to the Vietnam War, but at this time it's just kind of an overarching and very pretty statement. But he also addressed the moral right and wrong, and he does say the word war often. Now, connotation-wise, war is not a happy word, and it brings up some pretty solid images to mind. But he uses it in different ways, not just the true war that he's talking about, but in the quote previously expressed, he's talking about a war on disease. In that sort of language, he's using it in a different way. But he also used moral wording, specifically religious language. President Kennedy was a Catholic, and this is the time in the 60s when this sort of language is very acceptable, and he does play to that quite a bit. So what is the effect of the theme? Well, it's a long-standing and famous speech, and many people know that ask not what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. It's a very famous element. But there's also this lovely quote: "Finally, whether you are citizens of America or citizens of the world, ask of us the same high standards of strength and sacrifice which we ask of you." So he's playing to that golden rule, thereby making the theme overall very effective. So, did the theme connect with the audience? Yes, we as Americans refer to this speech frequently, and it was well received within the world. Was the theme supported with specific examples? Well, he kind of drops the ball here. He uses lots of hypotheticals and broad strokes of examples, but he does sort of support it. And does the speaker believe the theme is important? Yes, that's his entire point. And while he can't give us exact specifics about this war he's talking about, he does really believe it. In review, the effectiveness of a speech can be evaluated on a speaker's message, a speech's organization, a speaker's style, the emotional impact, and most recently, the theme.